Hey guys, for this video I'm going to be testing the Redcat Gen 8 servo, which is the Hexfly HX-15s versus the Traxxas TRX 4 Sport 2075X. I'm going to put these on the servo tester and just see what they got. Take a look. Okay, to start with, we're going to compare the speed of these servos. They're both hooked up to this little deal right here that you can run like 5 servos off of one port, and they're at 6 volts. And let's just see what the speed of these servos are, which one is faster and which one is slower. Okay, pretty obvious. The Traxxas 2075X is faster. As far as speed goes, Traxxas wins, simple as that. As far as raw turning power, the HX-15s clearly defeated the 2075X. You know, just simple and easy. On the outside hole, this thing got 199 ounces. On the inside hole, it got 242 ounces, and it pulled 3.8 amps to get it. Now, the stock ESC is only good for 3 amps, so it's kind of pushing it a little bit there. But, you know, I haven't heard of too many brownouts with a stock servo. The Traxxas 2075X got 127 on the outside hole, 149 on the inside hole, and it pulled 2.5 amps. Now, the stock ESC for the Traxxas is only rated to 1 amp, so that was way over the limit of what the stock ESC is spec'd out to be. So I never noticed any brownouts with either one of these in the stock trucks, so you know, it is what it is. But for this test, Traxxas faster, more power is the Redcat HX-15s. So at this point, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about other servos. As far as other servos go, the Power HD 20 kg, which I've tested before, and at the end of this video there will be a link to, you know, the little boxes that pop up at the end to actually show you guys the very first servo test that I ever did. And the Power HD 20 kg did well. It did better than the 23 kg by the same manufacturer. The Savox 1230 does really good. It's loud and will require a BEC for sure on that one because they're kind of power hungry. But you know, there's a lot of servos out there. Depending on your budget, you know, maybe you're limited to something like a Power HD 20 like I just mentioned, or the 23. You know, if you got a higher budget and you really want to go to the limit, there are 2 servo manufacturers out there that really take the cake and, you know, are strong. And these are servos that I've personally used. I'm not going to tell you a servo that I've never used before is the greatest and best, because I don't have personal experience with it. So like the ProTech 170, I've never had one, so I can't tell you guys, hey, it's the best out there. I've never had the Holmes servo either, so I can't tell you that one is the best. But what I can tell you is the Three Brothers RC and Reefs make the 2 best servos that I've ever used. Now, the Three Brothers RC, the G13 servo, there's no BEC required. It runs straight off of your battery, anywhere from 2 to 4S as far as the ratings go. And I have been told it has taken 6S before and survived. The guy said it was super quick. So that's a good one, and you don't need a BEC for that. Now, on the other side, you have the Reefs Triple 5, which I have also tested, and it's the strongest brute force servo that I've ever tested. Now, the the deal on that is you got to limit the voltage according to specs to like 7.4 or 7.5 volts. So on that one, you need an external BEC to get all it can. It doesn't seem to be, by specs, rated to a fully charged 2S LiPo. So that's kind of a limiting factor on the Reefs, but even with that, it's still the strongest servo out there. Now, the Three Brothers RC G13 is a much faster servo. It doesn't provide as much torque, but it's faster. So if you value speed a little more than just raw torque, then the G13 is your way to go. If you want just raw turning power and speed doesn't matter, then go for the Reefs. You know, it's kind of based on your choice. The Reefs requires that BEC I mentioned. The G13 does not. So both servos will absolutely will overpower these trucks easily. There's no question at all about that. So, but it's all in your budget and what you can afford. Can you afford a $120+ servo, or do you need to stay around the $20? And their servos all in the range. The Savox 1230 comes in at around $60, and that's plenty for these trucks. Now the Savox will require a BEC, like I mentioned earlier. They're also kind of loud. You'll always hear these things, humming, making noise, trying to find center, and even if you do stall it, you're going to hear it. It's just kind of the way it goes. I've also run the Hi-Tech 7954. That's a good servo, but I also race with that servo because it's got plenty of speed, plenty of power, but it's 24 spline. So, and the other servos that I've mentioned are 25 spline. So you'll need a new horn for sure. And speaking of horns, that should be one of the first upgrades, no matter what servo you're running, is a metal servo horn. Now, Redcat with the Gen8 actually comes with a metal servo horn, which is actually pretty darn neat. I like that. I wish more manufacturers would actually do that right out of the box. Just be done with it. Send us a metal servo horn. But hopefully I haven't bored you too much with this, me rambling on about servos. I've tested a bunch of servos on that servo tester. Way more than you guys have seen on video. And sometimes people are happy, sometimes people get their feelings hurt. It just kind of is what it is, Oh, and also with servos, the ratings on a servo, from my understanding, is a dynamic rating. So I believe, now you guys can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but the way they get that 500 ounce for the Savox, which it does not give you 500 ounces of pull on my tester, is I believe it's a dynamic force where they hit it and the impact that the horn makes. I believe that's how they measure it. Maybe you guys can tell me how they really do it so I get a little more knowledge in my brain. But I will tell you this, mine is a dead stall pull. What you see on my tester is what you get out of the servo. So, with all that said, guys, thank you all for watching.